Good morning, everyone, and by good morning, I mean good morning, depending on where you're seeing this. If you are watching it live, it is right now, it's about 8:30 on the East Coast, and that's where I am this week. And that is the reason for us being early, because I will be on my way to the land of Lincoln in the next hour or so. So next Tuesday, we'll be back on schedule. It'll be 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. But today we're on the East Coast. We're in the land of Maine Central, Boston to Maine, Canadian National, CP, and in fact, I'll show you some pictures later. My home club here in my hometown welcomed me in, and we've got some pictures to show you from the club meeting. So even though it's early, let's hope that you've made a proper cup of tea, or you've got a good cup of Joe there, and let's see who's joining us bright and early this morning. We've got Jonathan. We've got Texas Rail Fan. We've got Kalen. We got Brady. We got KC. We got Christian. And we've got Nissy. So we've got a pretty good crowd, even though it's a little bit earlier than what we normally do. And hopefully our internet cooperates. We are in the middle of New Hampshire woods, so internet could be interesting. Keenan says, this is wicked early. Thank you. Yeah, it is wicked early out here. Or as my vernacular would say, it's wicked early out here. So, hey, you know what? We've got stuff to talk about, and let's go ahead and roll that footage. We're going to talk today about ready-to-roll stuff. We're going to talk about ready-to-roll 16K Clay Slurry tank cars, as well as some Pullman Standard 4740 covered hoppers. I want to welcome Ted and Mesquite Belt, Gary, Matthew, Forrest, Steve. We got Ted here. We've got Keenan. And, man, we got a lot of great guys that have showed up. So thanks for showing up so early. And let's cross our fingers. Let's hope that the internet stays up and that moose out there doesn't step on the moose line or the internet line. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I always do. I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to talk about tank cars. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking for 1990s, both locomotives and freight cars. And Athearn's been listening. Remember, we've got the product suggestion email. And that is where we get the ideas for not only the road names, but the actual cars themselves. Well, let's go ahead and zoom in on these so you can see all the great detail. Now, for you out there wondering where you would use these on your layout, your modules, these are predominantly used in cement industry, lime, different things of that nature. And they're perfect if you've got a small industry, especially if you've got a switching layout. They're not too big. They're designed to carry heavy bulk items. And as you can see here, we've got some great cars from different eras to help you out. So for those modeling the 2010s and on up, we've got the Union tank car. And you can see it's got all of the Federal Rail administrated warning decals, as well as the high-vis striping. Now we're offering this in 2 singles and 2 3-packs. So we've got 2 individual packs that include 3 cars. And of course, all of these are going to be different road numbers. So it's going to be very easy to make a unit train of these if you need to. Cars. Now, for you guys out there in the 1990s, same thing. We've got the dry branch Kaolin. And this was one that was requested of quite a few. 2 packs of 3 different road numbers. This is perfect for you guys in the 19 standards from the 1990s. Okay, I apologize for that. Apparently, the moose stepped on the internet line. So I'm not. Yeah, exactly, Nissy. The moose stepped on the internet. Apologize for that. I'm not sure where you guys got to see everything. And I apologize. It looks like we are having some serious internet issues, even though we are using an Ethernet line. So we'll try to move on forward. And if we can, maybe we'll do a rebroadcast later this week when we have a more secured location. I'm going to go ahead and try to show you guys the ready to roll covered hoppers. And hopefully that doesn't kick me off again. Okay, can everybody see that? All right. Now, hopefully, you guys can hear me too. Okay, so the 4740, this is a Pullman standard design. It came out in the mid-60s. Extremely popular freight car. And for this run, we did a little bit of 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. We tried to pick some railroads that everybody would appreciate, and then they go from both sides of the country. The first one we've got here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on these. I know you Alaska guys are going to be real happy with these. But we've got the Alaska Railroad. And we're offering all these covered hoppers in 2 singles and 1 pack of 3. So again, just like the tank cars, these are making it easy for you to make a unit train. And yeah, these are sweet hoppers. These are really cool because they came out, like I said, in the mid-60s. And you'll still see them occasionally. So we've got the Alaska Railroad, pretty cool paint scheme. We've also got General American marks. And what's cool about these are relatively modern. If you look here, it's a 2000s freight car. Now, going back to the 1960s, we've got the Great Northern. This was just before Great Northern changed their identity. This was the traditional Great Northern, Rocky the Goat. And not too long after that, they changed their look a little bit to more of a modern look, and they went to the big sky blue. But this is before that. That's available in 2 singles as well as 1 pack of 3. And then, of course, Illinois Central. This is because this is the earlier version with the light gray. I apologize for that. We are having serious issues here today. This is before the orange and black paint scheme that was more common on these later on. 70s. We know you MKT guys out there are extremely happy to model that line. Now, somebody did make a comment last week in the comments section. Are these 100% accurate? No, they're not. What happens is we have to try to make as many lines as we want. And you can take this car and you can modify it so that it is 100% accurate. But we wanted to offer it in this paint scheme for those that are not quite as worried about the 100% authenticity, but actually run it in a train. And for the most part, if you're wanting a freight car that is that detailed and that accurate, you're probably going to want to stick with the Genesis series, which are based on actual prototypes. These are based on prototypes, but sometimes we have to, in order for us to offer more roads, we have to take a few modeling licenses. And that's the case with the MKT. And then last but not least, we have the Norfolk Western. And this is a 1970s car. And a lot of these lasted well into the Norfolk Southern era. So don't be afraid if you're modeling early Norfolk Southern. You can definitely get a few of these. So really cool offerings this month. These are all available for pre-order till the end of this month. So you've got till the end of June, last Friday of the month, to go down to your dealer and order these. And again, these tend to go by quick. We'll talk about some more ready to roll stuff, and we're not going to limit. You guys are going to like that. So, as I've been saying, this was kind of a short. It wasn't really planned. Unfortunately, it was a quick trip to my home state of New Hampshire. But one of the good things is my home club is here in the area, and I brought along some of the Dash 9 samples, and I brought an Amtrak P42 for the club to to run on the layout. I'll post that video later on our Facebook page, but let me share with you some of the pictures that we got of that night. And I want to thank the Concord Model Railroad Club for having me in and coming home and showing the neat stuff that's coming out by Athearn. All right, so here's our first picture. I brought a few Dash 9s with us. You can see I brought the Norfolk Southern, the BNSF, complete with the faded out walkway, and the Canadian National. Now, all three of these are pretty popular in New England. It's not unusual to see a BNSF locomotive sometimes in the Concord yard if they've got the Bow power plant. And just, you normally associate BNSF with the Midwest or the West Coast, but yeah, they do make their way out here too, all the way up into New England. This is an H1, so it's the first heritage paint scheme. It is not a prime for grime, but it is based on a locomotive that was photographed in 2012. So while it's not a prime for grime, it is, slightly faded to represent what that locomotive looked like at that time. They didn't leave the factory with those pink or reddish walkways. They were red, but they faded extremely quickly. And so the developers wanted to, simulate that for those that are modeling 2012 on up. Now the Norfolk Southern, especially with the Spartan cab, the Norfolk Southern is extremely popular out here. They work with Pan Am, and it's not uncommon to see Norfolk Southern this far on the East Coast. So that was a popular one. And of course, Canadian National. Canadian National is, and CP are very common in the New England area. So the guys were really excited to see these. Now, these are going to be coming out. For those that don't know, these are going to be coming out late summer, early fall. I don't have a date yet because we're still out a little bit, but we're looking at about late summer, early fall. So here's the Amtrak, one of the Heritage series that we did. These are available now. If you didn't pre-order one of these, talk to your dealer. They're in stock. They've been out for not quite a month. They came out the beginning of May, but here we are. We're running the locomotive and some cars on the club layout. Now the club layout's pretty cool. It's actually a series of 2-foot by 4-foot modules. The club meets in a school, an old high school, in one of the classrooms, and every August, they have a pretty good sized show in Concord, New Hampshire, and they take these modules and they set up a really nice layout, and the layout depicts pretty much the northern line of the Boston and Maine. So I don't remember what location this was, but this was part of their club module. And if you're in the area, look up Concord Model Railroad Club and see when that show is. It's in August. I don't have the dates right in front of me. And then I've got one more. Well, this one's kind of cool. I took this picture, and it never happened in real life, but that's the fun thing about model railroading is you can simulate something that never happened. This is Pennacook, New Hampshire, where I grew up. This is not much more than a mile or two from where I'm doing this broadcast right now. And as a kid, I would stand by one of those bridges and watch the Boston and Maine and later Guilford operate. This line now is now abandoned. It doesn't see anything except horses and snowmobiles during the seasons. But at one time, it was a very popular line with the Boston and Maine. So again, I want to thank the Concord Model Railroad Club for having me over and showing them these new models and getting to run some trains. And I'll try to get that video up before I hit the road so that you guys can see that on social media later. It's a short video just showing the P42 doing its thing on the layout. It's always kind of cool. And, maybe an alternate reality, we can have Amtrak on the northern line. Okay, I am going to attempt to get some rail fan action up for you guys in the next few minutes. We're going to go, I can't say I'm homesick because I'm home now, but I'll say I'm Illinois sick, and let's go to Galesburg. Let's see. Share this. There we go. And I'll make this bigger. They were doing some maintenance out here earlier. Now, I know there are not a lot of you guys out there because this is early. This is really early, especially if you're in the Midwest or the West Coast. Good news is these are all archived on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. I know a lot of you guys like to come on here live and ask questions. And like I said, next week we will be back to our regular time. So that will be 3:30 Central Daylight Time. Yeah. Well, you know, some of my fellow Athearn co-workers are there, so yeah, it has its advantages. We don't get to see railroading like this in central New Hampshire. Let's see if we've got some questions out there, and then I'm going to let you guys go back to your morning routines. Let's see. Not at this time. But if you've taken advantage of the product suggestion email, that means our developer has seen that. That means the developers that you've met, John and Janik and Jack, they see those. So definitely, if you want to see it in N scale, let us know. We can't always guarantee that we're going to do it, but if we get enough requests, then it's possible to say it might happen. Illinois does have beautiful skies. And this wow, that's really next time we do a broadcast from New Hampshire, we'll try a different location. So here we go. We got some covered hoppers coming in, some Heritage 2s. Yeah, I am too. If you're like me and you like the early days of BNSF, that was a cool time in the railroad's history. Personally, I think the H1 was, and this is just Dominic, I think I answered your question, but if you were asking about the Dash 9s, Dash 9s in the Genesis series, those are going to be available sometime in late summer, early fall. As we get closer to that time, the dates will start to firm up. And just keep posted on our social media and our YouTube channel and Train Tuesday. We'll definitely keep you posted as to when those are due. Matt, that's good. See, he's always looking on the bright side. That's good. I always look on the bright side of life. A famous philosopher said that from merry old England. I always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, we got a train today. We had a couple, I think. So despite the internet issues, we're doing okay. David, that's a good question. I'd say the possibility is there. As far as a timeline, I don't have a timeline, but that's probably a possibility. Got a few comments coming in. A little bit slower just because of the internet lag that we're experiencing. I'm going to go back a little bit because I know there were some questions about some of the other things that we were talking about. James likes the Great Northern. He's talking about the covered hoppers we talked about earlier. He also wanted to know any in CP rail, not in this release, but that's possible in the future. No 1970s tankers in this run. Not today, not in this run, but you'll probably see some in the future. Adam wants to know if Athearn were to run more F-59s to go with the Surfliners, would you expect to do it as a Genesis or a ready to roll? That's a good question, Adam. If you wanted them done within this year, we'd probably keep those by themselves. Are really nicely detailed. And with any bit of work, you can detail them further. But it's possible in the future we might upgrade those to Genesis. David says, thank you for doing this. I bought my first Athearn car in 1973, and I haven't stopped. Would you ever do signals? That's a good question. We've done some other things besides freight cars and locomotives. I mean, obviously we do automobiles and trucks and things of that nature. We did billboards a while ago. We did a few kit buildings. I'd say anything is possible. I don't know of anything in the immediate future, but there's always a possibility. Got time for one or two more questions. Try to get somebody I haven't grabbed lately. So you're asking for a legendary livery IC Heritage -9 AC44 SD70 Mac in the orange and cream paint. Well, I would be all for it. I always like the orange paint schemes that the Illinois Central had. We're not this month. We'll probably be talking about some in the future, but not right now. All right. Well, despite our internet issues, despite that moose just outside my window tearing up the internet, we got through this. And we actually, somebody said we broke the train Tuesday curse. We had a train. Good old Galesburg comes through again. So I want to thank everybody for coming on board today. I know it was early. So hopefully you enjoyed this broadcast with a cup of coffee or a proper cup of tea. And until next week, I want everybody out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some modeling this weekend, treat others kind, and above all, high greens, everybody. Next time I see you, I will be in Illinois, and we will return at 3:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time next Tuesday. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.